Hi, I'm Rosie Beltran. We've talked a lot of times, but thank you for joining us today for this user interview. Do you want to tell me a little bit about yourself?
I'm Beltran. I am an undergraduate student of computer science from the Universidad de Buenos Aires in Argentina. I am currently studying topics like machine learning and Pandas, Spark, a lot of computer science related stuff. And Pieces has been very helpful for me.
That's awesome. So you mostly use Pieces for your everyday schoolwork?
Yes, I use it primarily for that because I don't do any side projects for now. I has just started, so I don't feel comfortable doing side projects. But for school, it's very good because it helps me to be more productive and understand things that maybe in classes I don't understand quite enough.
For sure. What type of languages are you learning?
I'm learning C and Python. I have seen a little bit of C++, but C and Python are the current language I am doing, and mostly Python for machine learning. When I put it in the Copilot, I am very productive with that. Help me save a lot of time.
That's awesome. Yeah, error handling seems to be one of the best use cases that we found so far.
It is error handling and being able to save snippets for work projects, the configuration of the system or different things that are very mechanical. Well, it saves maybe a couple of seconds, but in
It adds up,
overall,
huh?
yeah.
Where do you find yourself saving snippets from? Like the web or an IDE? Where do you usually find them?
Mostly I save snippets my professor gave me, like saying, okay, you have to configure your system this way. You have to import those libraries. Well, I save them because maybe we have to do 3 or 4 different files, and all of them require the same importations. So not a lot of from the web, but I have used the snippet discovery option.
Nice.
And it's very good. Some of them overlap, so it's good.
Yeah, for sure. That's awesome. It's a good use case for when your professor sends over files to save them. Seems very smart.
Yes. It's also a great tool to stay organized because you have everything in one place. So I just open Pieces and I have everything there.
Do you mostly use the desktop app, not like VSG
Yes.
or use Code or JetBrains or anything like that?
No, I mostly use the desktop app. I think that it's very complete and I have everything like organized there, from the chats to the flow activity tree sort of thing.
Yeah.
And the snippets are very, very useful.
You've told me in a previous interview that you organize your Copilot chats. Can you describe that a little bit for us?
Yes, I have the 2 chats that I most use pin, and I have another chat where I usually just log whatever I do, like a diary, for example, just saying, okay, I did this, just to remember, also pin, and then I separate the chat from topics. Like a chat is specifically for Panda when I am using it in Python, another for Spark, another for C. I find it that from the context that the chat always reads everything, it gave more accurate answers. And I think that it makes the Copilot better because it's always understanding what you are doing.
For sure. So you're one of our early access users, meaning you've had the Workstream pattern engine running. So when you talked about your kind of diary, are you using the Workstream pattern context for that?
Yes, I don't tell him what I do. I ask him like, okay, what I did today in these files, and it gave me like a summary. So the next day when I start making machine and start working, I just look that summary and say, okay, I did this and those other tasks I am missing, but these ones are complete.
That's awesome.
And the Workstream, it helped me a lot because it helps me when I'm working in different projects, because sometimes I separate the chats from topics, but in the summary, I want to have all the progress that I have made. So the Workstream, it's very useful for that.
For sure. Do you use the Workstream context in your other chats, like the one, so for instance, your Spark chat, do you also be like referring to something?
I use it for all of the chats. I think that it's the best option because it's like having a personal assistant that is always with you. And I think that it's very useful because when you make an error, maybe you have to give context to understand the error, but it already has the context. So a lot of time is also saved there. I think that it's amazing.
That's awesome. That's pretty much exactly how we hoped people would use it. So I love hearing that. What could make it better, do you think?
That the thing that can make it better is that you will be able to recognize like images. For example, I use Logisim program to represent circuits, electronic circuits, and sometimes it gets a little things wrong, but I think that the precision of understanding such complex system just from reading your screen, it will help me to also understand better because it understands a lot of the code and it reads perfect the code. But images, maybe it needs like a little context, reading context of what I am doing.
For sure. So maybe a little more processing around images and diagrams and structures.
Exactly.
Yeah, that would be great. I agree with that. I bet we could do something like that. Yeah.
It would be awesome.
So you said you think it makes you more productive. Could you give me like a ballpark? What percentage more productive do you think it would be, or some sort of idea around that?
I think that, 30, 40%, because I am still learning, so I get a lot of errors. And being able to understand them and having someone that always explains to you the errors in just a matter of seconds, it helps me to understand a lot of things and not make them again. And I think that it has helped me maybe days being around the code.
That is so cool to hear. I love to hear that. That's awesome. So you mentioned you also use workflow activity. Are you referring to the screen or the view in Pieces, or is it specifically the Workstream context that you're talking about?
No, I am talking the option that the banner in Pieces, like the tree that you gave.
Oh yeah.
It's very awesome because you have when you add a snippet, what related links were added, when you reference that snippet, and also the where you reference. So to stay organized, it's very good because you know where and when did you use it because you also have the date.
Yeah.
So to have the the chronogram, the calendar of the things you did and what days did you did, it's very useful.
Nice. And do you think how far back, and this goes for both the workflow activity and the workstream context, how big of a time period do you feel like you tend to reference? Like a day, a week, a couple hours?
A week, maybe 5 to 6 days. Sometimes maybe one day, but maybe I need something from 5 to 6 days. I need to remember, and it's very helpful. You have to be a little specific because it has a lot of information, but it's very cool.
So it sounds like you are really an all-rounder Pieces user, because sometimes when we talk about who our users are, we see a lot of people who mostly do snippets and people who mostly do Copilot, but it sounds like you do a lot, like all of the above as part of your daily workflow.
Yes, because I use it for like different things, like for Copilot for errors and to understand things in classes that I don't quite get around. The workflow activity, I use it to stay organized and to know what things I did and to like a weekly summary. Maybe in Sundays I go and watch the workstream activity and say, okay, I did this that day, I have to be better or thing. And snippets, I mostly use it to, well, have the code already in the system and maybe not type it again and save time.
For sure, for sure. Makes total sense. So say you're given control of our roadmap for the next few months. What would you want to see kind of a long-term big change that you think would really add value to what you have today?
I think that the workflow tree could have like a Git integration, show like, okay, you will make that commit in this repository, sort of like a Git Kraken thing. And also the ability to have a summary from the Workstream engine inside the workflow activity, so I don't have to have a separate chat for that. I think
Mhm.
that that would be the first thing I would do. But I think that it's very complete app and doesn't need a lot of, I don't know, new things. I think that maybe just making the things that are already there better, it will be awesome. For example, the addition of the power menu like a week ago, I think that that was very cool. It helped
Awesome.
me to make me use less the mouse and make everything from the keyboard. And I love that. I would like to have the shortcut being personalized. Like today is Command Enter. I would like to have it set it up for a different, but it's very cool.
Awesome. That's great feedback. I think you're gonna see a couple things relating back to one of what you said earlier about wanting to see kind of a summary, like always with you. I think you're gonna see something pretty close to that, something pretty cool coming out soon. So I'm glad you recommended that.
It would
So
be
just hold
awesome.
tight. Yeah. So hold tight. I
Okay.
think you'll see something that'll be helpful for that.
Okay.
And I love the idea of kind of integrating your Git actions and all your, commits and so forth into your workflow activity. That's a really good idea.
Right now, I only use Pieces and Git Kraken.
Hmm.
And with that, I will only use Pieces because it already has it all. So it will be like the last thing that I will need from Pieces.
The one tool to rule them all, huh?
Exactly.
That's awesome. Well, this is awesome feedback. I'm so glad you're loving the tool. Is there anything else you want to talk about? Anything to add to your experience, or pretty much anything else you want to say?
I think that maybe the Workstream engine will be awesome to give it a specific context. It
Mhm.
has all the context that you do, but maybe say, okay, just look for things that are related to like parameters, like a function, but for the Workstream engine, say,
Mhm.
okay, you're like my personal assistant, so
Yeah.
exactly this on this app or these files, this directory. And I think that it will help me a lot because right now I have like, I don't know, 8 or 10 chats. And maybe if I could like just switch the context, like the views the Workstream engine has, maybe you don't need a lot of chats for that because it's like a button. You say Panda, I don't know, Spark, and you change the preference.
Cool. So kind of like narrowing down the context that the workstream pattern engine has. What about like only talk to me about something I've done in
Yes,
the last hour kind of thing?
yes, it could be also be helpful. I think that the most helpful thing it will be for apps. Okay, I did this in VS Code, this in
Mm,
I don't know Google Cloud
nice.
or something like that. But time range also helps.
Perfect. Yeah, no, I like the idea of apps. That's really nice too. Just specifying and narrowing down where you get the context from for sure.
Exactly. One last thing I would
Yeah.
like to ask. Right now, the default layouts are the copilot or the snippets. I would like to have the workflow activity tree, like a default layout. Like I open pieces and this one pops up.
Okay.
I think
Yeah.
that it will be, I don't know, I like to view it and it's the first thing I view. So I always
Mm.
have to change the layout.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
like that because then it becomes it's really almost a planner for you. It's telling you exactly
know.
what. Yeah, yeah. Okay, I can definitely bring that one back. That's a good idea. I like that because it kind of perfectly aligns with how you use pieces.
Yes, it's very personal, but I don't know. I think that I could say something like say, well, if you can do it, it could
Well,
be very cool.
well, I'm certain if you're using it that way, someone else would also want to use it that way. So I think that's an awesome idea.
Let's hope so.
Yeah, for sure. You can always email me or ping me on Discord. We always want to hear as soon as something comes to your brain, just let us know. We love hearing from you.
Thank you very much. I will do that.
Okay, great. All right. Well, thank you so much for your time today, Beltran. And thank you so much for the feedback and for being a Pieces power user. We appreciate you so much.
It's an awesome tool, and I always like to give a little thing to a tool that has given me a lot.
Good. I'm so
So
glad. Well, let me know if you ever need anything. And I mean, we'll keep chatting on Discord and on email or however you want to reach out. So thank you so much for all your time today.